Hi, ladies. Mandy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just introduce the live, etc., and then I'll get you to come on. Just because I throw a few statistics around and stuff. So I'll do that, and then I'll accept your request. So don't think I'm ignoring you. But we'll just wait for a few more people to join, and then we'll get the ball rolling. Hi, Kel. Okay, I'm going to get started, just because otherwise we're going to be sitting here just watching me scrolling through my laptop. So good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday, and thank you so much for joining us. This is another fabulous talk with Peer to Peer. So today is a big one. It's an amazing one. It's one that I'm passionate about. It's one that I'm extremely vocal about, and it's all about women empowerment. Now, I say this is a big one because I feel like for such a long time, women have not had a voice. They've not had the kind of freedom to say what they want to say, speak their own minds. And it's just an appreciation live. We're going to have an amazing guest on, which I'll introduce in a bit, but we're going to have an amazing guest on who shares the same views as me when it comes to women, and about empowering them, making them feel amazing, because that's what they are. I also just want to remind everyone and anyone else who joins in afterwards that this is not a talk to downplay men, because they are also amazing in their own way, but today this is about us. And about the amazing things that we're capable of doing and the amazing things that we do. So what I'm going to do, as I always do, is just throw some statistics at you. So it's the first one is actually very well known, but globally women are paid less than men. Which is a shame that it's still going on at the moment, but it is something that happens, and there are a lot of organisations that are fighting for there to be a difference, especially in that kind of category. So then the next one I've got is, according to figures from the UN Women, 2/3 of the world's 796 million illiterate people are actually women. I've never heard of that statistic before, and it makes me feel quite sad, because I believe that every person, whether you're male, female or a child, deserves and should be allowed the right to an education. Just basic being able to read and write, I feel like that's such an important part of our lives, and when that opportunity is taken away from people, it's shocking, really, that that's still happening in 2021. I'm still living in last year, as you can tell. And then the last one, in 2011, for leadership effectiveness, women received 53% overall effectiveness compared to the 49% for males. So when it comes to leadership roles, unfortunately, a lot of women are overlooked because of their gender, but according to these statistics and according to the testing that they've done, the effectiveness of women actually being a leader was more effective than it was when it came to men. Again, I just want to remind people that we're not taking away from what men do. They have their own skills. They're like I said, they're amazing in their own way. But today we are all about the ladies. So let's get our amazing guest on, our lovely Mandy. I'm just going to accept a request. Hopefully we don't have any technical problems today, but Mandy, I've just sent you a request, my love. So if you want to accept it when you can.
Hello.
Hello, lady. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm glad we finally got to chat. I'm so
I
sorry.
know.
The last few weeks, I tell you what, growing a baby is no mean feat, and that's something else men can't do. But my brain has left, so yeah. But
You
it's
got
great to be
baby brain.
on, and yeah, I think you guys do amazing work. So yeah, it's great to chat.
Oh, amazing. So, guys, this is our amazing Mandy. She's our lovely guest who's going to be speaking to us all about women empowerment, her passion to do with women. So, Mandy, if you want to take over, just tell us exactly what you're up to and the amazing things that you do.
Yeah, so like I said, thank you for having me. So I founded the Empowered Women Project in 2018. My mental health swiftly deteriorated in 2018 and I was sectioned. And basically I didn't have anything else around me. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have people really coming in to visit. I just had my laptop. And so what I did was I just started blogging about my feelings and how I was feeling, and I just don't know, I just started putting down my thoughts and stuff like that in the form of a blog. And in the beginning, no one really looked at it, but it wasn't for anyone else. It was
Yeah.
genuinely a space for me to just like, and it was really cathartic because I think like I'd been a bodybuilder and a model and stuff like that in my early to mid 20s, and everything was for everyone else. And this just was like my wee zone where I would just share what I was thinking. And it kind of just grew from there. And what I realized from when people started to follow and kind of look at what I was doing, I realised that there was nothing. That's why your stuff's so interesting to me, is that short of going to the doctor or accessing mental health services, there weren't a lot of spaces at that time anyway, that provided just a safe space for women in particular to be raw and share their stuff.
Yeah.
So once I started like sharing, and then I had the Instagram, the Facebook, and things all gathered momentum pretty quickly, then people just started submitting their own. It just went like wildfire, and it was everything that wasn't stuff I'd necessarily dealt with. It was stuff like postnatal depression. It was things like I don't know, trauma from leaving a religion, or it was like all sorts of things. I learned so much from people just opening up and sharing their experiences. And clearly, these people had felt, well, maybe I don't need a service, but I
Mm.
just want to like share and kind of get that off my chest. So yeah, it just kind of grew like wildfire. And I've just been really lucky to be along for the ride, because I think when you run an online space like that,
Yeah.
it can get overwhelming at times, but it's also a massive learning opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
my friends and I tend to call it, you know how you can call it calling somebody out, but my friends and I call it calling in my community, because people tend to DM me and like quietly say, oh, you should think about this, or
Mm.
platform that person instead of speaking for people and stuff. So I quite like the fact that I've learned
Mm.
such an honest, good way, because whether it's women of colour or trans folk or non-binary folk or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm privileged in a lot of ways. Of course, I'm not a middle-aged white man, and again, not to take away from them, but they have
Yeah.
a lot of great opportunities that we haven't had over the years. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty privileged in a lot of ways, and I think that through having the project and having this space, it's given me the opportunity to reflect and recognise that, and then also hand over the mic when it's appropriate to other people who need that platform, whether it is women of colour, or whether it is trans women, or whether it is, just whomever. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes I don't always need to take the mic for everyone, so that's been a big learning curve.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And I completely agree with what you're saying. This is what we're trying to do at Peer to Peer as well, is just create a platform for people to come on and share their stories and be completely honest. I don't know if you've scrolled through our Instagram page, but there's videos of me crying, there's videos of my sister crying, there's people in the comments that are like, oh my God, this is breaking my heart. And people can really relate to it. And like you said, it is a massive learning curve, because our viewers, they come on and we always give them an open space to say, right, guys, chuck your questions in the comments. We'll answer as many questions as we can. And there's also people that put factual information in there as well. So not last week, the week before, when we did our last live, we have our regular viewers that come on, and they actually pass information of things that they know, and they provide us with that knowledge. So we were talking about mental health a couple of weeks ago, just because it's obviously a massive subject to be speaking about. I think most people that I've spoken to have suffered with mental health at some point in their life, including myself. I'm still going through it at the moment. And it's not something that's just swept under the rug and say, oh, okay, I'm feeling better today, so I'm not
or I'm
anymore.
fine. And
I'm okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, so it's just amazing to be able to create platforms, including what you guys do as well, to just create platforms so that people feel safe. I know we've had a number of DMs, a number of messages just saying like, thank you guys, your story has inspired me, or so, and that's exactly what we want to do. And we don't want it for our own benefit. We just want to be able to spread our stories and share our stories so that people can also take something from that to potentially help someone else prevent going through that same.
It's completely validating, and I think like, yeah, I mean, there's much more. And again, I started to learn about things which needed tackled. So you end up with space, and then people say, can you address this? Can you address this? And sort of body positivity is another thing that we've really gotten into, because as a former bodybuilder and model and stuff, it was all sort of like, I became hyper aware of like advertising standards on Instagram and perfect bodies and airbrushed bodies, and I was like, hang on a minute. And then there was a big time in 2018 2019 where we were speaking in Parliament about the before and after pictures that a lot of these products were doing, and just for the damage that was doing to young women. Like, I'm 31 now, but if that had been around when I was 15 16, I actually dread to think how much worse my self-esteem would have ended up. And I feel like again, from that peer aspect, I feel like it takes women of our sort of age who've been through it all, who've also grown with social media, but in our adult years, to actually advocate for the young women and say, hang on a minute, we know what's coming for them, and we can see it all happening, and we need to protect them.
100%. And this is something that we always try and touch on, is we look at social media and we're not like, oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world, because it's amazing. It's an amazing platform for things such as this. It's amazing. We're on Instagram right now. We're on social media right now. It helps us connect with everyone and just share our message. But there is also that dark side. So what we're actually planning on doing going forward is, because when we've communicated with some schools, sometimes they've noticed that a lot of the girls are struggling with low self-esteem in schools, and I do genuinely believe that social media is a massive contributing factor to that, because they believe that they need to uphold this certain lifestyle or this image to fit in on social media, because that's what everyone's doing right now. So we're actually going to be starting up a mentoring scheme where we're going to be doing, I'm actually going to be doing it, going to be doing a one-to-one session with a number of students, and the school are going to be referring young girls who are struggling with self-esteem. Some of them have issues going on at home. They have issues with their own bodies. They literally hate themselves. They hate the way they look. And it's so sad to think that when I was their age, I had that Dream Matte Mousse foundation that was way too light or way too dark. I had bourgeois mascara.
We had the space to mess it up. Like,
we had the space.
Like hair mascara and like glitter, and like had that space to like get things wrong. I remember one time I saw a celebrity with like glowing skin, so I just put Vaseline all over my face, and one of my friends like, what's wrong with your face? And you just like, you have to go through all these weird phases. And I think that now young women, when they're scrolling, are actually seeing something which is not only it's not only unachievable for them, but it's actually unachievable for the person who's portraying it, because that doesn't exist. It's airbrushed, it's fake, it's, you know, and I know like friends, a couple of friends who were on Love Island, and I know from an actual insider's point of view that even like maybe the designer things, for example, that are on the photos were borrowed for an hour for the shoot type. Even that thing, that all that's being portrayed is such a, you know, it's such a false real. It's not even real for the ones that are portraying it. So nobody can aspire to have that life because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It's completely fake. It frustrates me, because sometimes I just want to get these young girls and go, it's not real. you
Um,
are real.
yeah,
Remember who you are, you know, like, and just try and drill it into their brains. Like, me and my younger sister were driving in my car the other day. I think we was going to get our eyebrows waxed, and we was just driving in the car, and we saw a whole group of like schoolgirls, and they had Louis Vuitton bags, they had Gucci bags, and as their school bags. And I was like,
yeah.
I had a Nike Just Do It bag that was £19 from JD and a pair of
It
sneakers.
was Gola and drawstrings, so yeah, I wasn't even on that level. But yeah, it's you have to go straight. And I think like now as well with the work that you guys are doing with like actually getting access to those young women is to just
Yeah,
remind them that social media, yes, is creating a lot of this bad stuff, but also you can curate such a positive space for yourself.
yeah,
Like you can follow body positivity accounts, body accepting
yeah,
accounts, like amazing strong women who empower other women. Like there's still, you know, and I worry about it's just like it's like everything we had in school with like the kind of who's got the best this, who looks the best
yeah,
under a fucking magnifying glass.
yeah.
Like, and I just can't imagine like doing all of that online. Like I say, there's no space for that awkward weird
No,
where you want to just like have the
no.
like, foundation and not quite know what to do with your
When
eyes.
you did try and cut your own fringe or cut
Yeah,
your own bangs, and you'd have just
yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh, I look like Kate Moss. Yeah, it's fun because that's how you get to explore. And if there's no
yeah,
room for that exploration, it just creates these women are just going into their shells and feeling
yeah.
they can't do anything, you know, and it's hard.
So I wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'll answer the same question afterwards, but I would like you to, because I don't want this to turn into a live of us kind of just knocking the things that we're doing wrong. This is also a platform for us to uplift each other, to talk about how amazing we are and the amazing things that we do as women. So if you want to just list, I don't know, maybe 3 things that you feel like what makes women amazing, what we can do, what we're about, what we have, all of that. Just give me 3 things that you feel like make you think, wow, women are amazing.
So first and foremost, I think like bodily autonomy, like we
Mm-hmm.
like what we do with our bodies, like we obviously there are outliers to that, but we decide like, you know, women are um I don't know how much I can go into like even today I was with the midwife and I said to her, this is an example just off the top of my head. I was with the midwife and I said to her, am I going to have to do X, Y, and Z? And she says, no, no, no. She says, the whole way you communicate with us and it's all about informed consent and what you want to do with your body and stuff. So I feel like that's a power that we have as a
Yeah,
body, what we want, how we want our bodies to be viewed and treated. And like, there's a whole other conversation to be had around that on a different day about sex
yeah.
work and stuff. But yeah, bodily autonomy. Um, what else? We've got voices, and I think if having my platform has shown me anything, um,
Mm.
it's that like nobody is too small. I used to look at women who were like speaking out on different subjects and think, wow, like I wish I could do that. And then, you know, realized from a place of absolute passion and rawness, this thing grew into now people ask me like yourself to speak
Mm.
on things. And I think so that's like reminds me that we all have a voice and that every important, especially women. And what else can we do that's amazing? We can uplift each other, right?
Yeah,
So I think that that is my final one because um, there's a lot. There can be a lot is said about women, you know, being bitter to one another and not helping each other. But there's also so much of the other stuff going on where
yeah,
empower each other to achieve what they want to achieve or encourage each other to set up the thing they want to set up or
yeah,
whatever. So like yeah, there is so much more these days I think of women trying to encourage each other because we recognize how much that's needed.
yeah.
So yeah, those are my 3.
Amazing. I love all 3 of them. They're just like, it's like you took them right out of my mouth. That's exactly how I would have explained them. But I have actually got 3 to add. So the first one I wanted to add is how nurturing we are. I feel like, and I don't want people to get confused and mistake what I'm trying to say when I mean nurturing. I don't mean that you can run a household and have children and basically look after your whole family. No, I believe that there's other ways of nurturing someone away from doing that, because that's just not what some women want to do. They don't want to have the kind of typical lifestyle that's kind of forced upon us from a young age. It's like, oh, you get the babies, you get the doll houses with the kitchen and the washing machine, and then the boys, they get the trucks and the diggers and the race cars and stuff like that. It's nothing to do with that. I just feel like us as women, we have some sort of chemical balance in our heads that makes us be a bit more critical when we're thinking. So we might look at a situation and think, oh, that might potentially affect that person in a bad way, so let's try and figure out a way to do it in a different way so it doesn't hurt that person. And a lot of the women that I'm friends with, women in my family, they all possess that skill. And I feel like, again, I'm not taking away from men, but I feel like sometimes they're just like, they steam into things and they don't care who they knock out of the way. They're just like, right, I want to get to there, so I'm going to get there no matter how I get there, basically.
And just to interrupt very, very quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Stat about, and I can't remember what the stat is, about how men are more likely, and again, it's not to stamp on men are more likely to sort of like upsell themselves in interviews, whereas women would downplay their skills in interviews just to like, oh, don't really know if I can do. Men would be more lie about the stuff they could do to just get in the door.
Yep, that's a perfect example. And then another one that I wanted to talk about is women, just because it's such a massive change to how it used to be, but women being business owners, women being at the top of the list of like entrepreneurs, and women that are millionaires and stuff like that. And I know it's not necessarily always about money, but it's just having that place in society. It's like, right, I grafted, I worked without the help of a man, I did this on my own. When you think about it, 60, 70 years ago, you could absolutely never. And if you did, you was like, what? It was like, wow, oh my God, a woman millionaire? Oh my God. Do you know what I mean? It
or
was like,
that thing of, I wonder who she married to get
who did she marry to get up there, or who did she sleep with to get up there? It was always like, a woman can't do that on her own. She had to have got help from someone. So no. And then the third thing, I would say that we are extremely passionate. We're very, very passionate creatures. We put our heart and soul into, if we are set on something, we put our absolute heart and soul into it, whether that's your job, whether that's you being a mother, whether that's you traveling the world, whether that's you just liking knitting and you make amazing things, or you like to sew, or you like to drive cars, or whatever you like to do. We put our heart and soul into it, and the outcomes and the results are amazing every single time. They are amazing. And I am generalizing a little bit, because there are women in the world who are just like, I just want to plod along in life and not do anything. There are women that are like that too, but
you do find that even those, because I would say that she won't mind me saying this, my sister can be a bit like that, but it doesn't mean that in the back of her mind it doesn't sometimes think to herself, I could do. So I think that even those women who maybe plod along, they're still kind of thinking about what they could be capable of. Don't have that little bit of confidence, just put themselves out there, because I recognize, and you probably feel the same, that I'm quite willing to put myself and my story out there, but that's not everybody's cup of tea.
No.
But why people like us need to be out there talking, so that somebody who's in the shadows or in the sidelines can think, oh yeah, if they can speak about it, then I can as well.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like, because of the trauma that women have experienced over the years, which I don't care what anyone says, is passed down in generations, because if my mum had no self-esteem or had no self-worth or didn't feel like she could do something better for her, why is she going to make me feel like I can go and do that? I'm not saying that my mum was an extremely powerful woman. She did not take anyone's crap, and she was amazing. She was the definition of a strong woman. So she's definitely passed that down to my sisters. But there's a lot of situations where women feel like it's safer to be in the shadows, or to be the kind of underdog, not really speak out, not really say anything. Like I love seeing posts on Twitter and Instagram of women. So I saw one the other day, and it said, let's teach our girls to ask the question, what did you mean by that? So when someone makes a kind of derogatory comment, or someone over sexualizes you or something like that, and they make a little joke or a comment, just respond. You don't need to be disrespectful, you don't need to be rude, just respond and say, what did you mean by that?
That's great. I will use that as
Yeah.
well, because it just, without being confrontational, sometimes we, again, I've just said it, women feel like, I've been in situations pre me being sectioned where I've been in high flying jobs or whatever, surrounded by men, and men would make little sexual comments and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's hard to know how to manage that. And I think that the minute you speak up for yourself, you're seen as a bitch or confrontational, or you're
the angry woman.
that's when it all turns. And women of color have told me in my DMs that they get that even worse sometimes. So
Yep.
like the minute that you the minute that you say anything, so actually that's a quite a good way of just being like, what do you mean? It puts them right back on the spot.
Yeah.
It's just a question. Do you know what I mean?
And excuse my French, but they will shit themselves.
Yeah.
If you ask them that question, they will absolutely cack their pants, because they'll be like, because I've done it before. My boyfriend laughs at me all the time because I feel no way about asserting my powerful womanness, and I will kind of just pull a man up if I feel like he's doing something that I don't like. I feel no way about screaming at him or just saying exactly what I want to say. And just a prime example, just to give you guys an insight into what my day can turn out to be sometimes. I was literally just going to Lidl, minding my own business, just going to do a bit of shopping, had my kids with me, had my partner with me, but I was walking in front of them. So as I'm walking into the entrance, there's a man walking towards me, and he's just staring at me, just staring right at my eyes. I've got my mask on, so I've not broke eye contact. I'm staring right back at him. And as he's got this close to me, I pulled my mask down and I went, what? And he went, what do you mean, what? Like, started getting so irate. And I wasn't screaming at him because I had the kids, but I was definitely raising my voice and just saying to him, like, how can you be denying that you were staring at me? You're sick. Stop staring. Like, I just went on a whole rampage. And my boyfriend, he was basically trying to deny it. And my boyfriend went to me, I saw him looking at you. So you had every right to say what you wanted to say. And I feel like we need to start, maybe that wasn't the best way of dealing with it, but we need to start making women feel comfortable enough to be able to raise their voice and say something to someone. But on the flip side, this is kind of getting a little bit deep now, but the amount of women that are murdered, attacked, sexually assaulted when they've been vocal and wanted to say what they want to say. Now, this is when it gets a bit tricky, because I would push for women. I go into certain situations and say, do you know what? If I get a slap for this, I get a slap for it. It is what it is. But it's not always just a slap. So, like, I've been hit before numerous times by men. I've been out and got into a confrontation with someone and a man's hit me. I remember once a man grabbed me, like literally bear hugged me in this club once and tried to drag me out of the club. Did not know this man. He could not speak English, no nothing. I'm not going to say what happened afterwards because I was out with my boyfriend and his friends, but it's difficult to kind of get yourself into a mindset of like, if I say this, am I going to be safe? Yeah. So it's just about, I feel like the example that I gave is a good example of how to question a man.
It's being aware as well of your surroundings. Like, you knew you had your partner a few feet behind, you knew you're in a safe space, you're in a supermarket, do you know what I mean? And again, these are the subtleties that men think they can get away with. And like I say, it's just a shame that the minute people call stuff like that out, sometimes it turns out that you're the bad one or you're making or whatever. When all of that could have been prevented. But I'm curious how your guys' organisation started up.
Okay, so my mum, I don't know the exact dates and stuff. You will have to ask my sister because she knows all about the dates. She's the CEO. I'm just kind of like the face of it, and I do the lives and I do like the training sessions, and I used to go into schools and deliver the sessions and stuff like that. So my mum's founded this company. She started it up a good few years ago. My mum was extremely passionate about young people, extremely passionate about it. She previously worked for an organisation that used to work quite actively with young mums and trying to help them get their education. There was a nursery on the side. My sister's just said June 2015. So there used to be a nursery on the side of the organisation that she worked for, so young mums could come and leave their babies in the nursery free of charge, and they could go in and do their maths and English. And she was training other girls to be peer educators, to be able to go into schools and deliver these life skill sessions. So what we're basically doing with our lives now is what we would normally go into schools and deliver as lessons. We're now doing them over Instagram lives, and we're also providing schools with like free workbook activities, which have they're all about the different subjects that we offer. But yeah, it's an amazing organisation. We're actually all women who run it, all the team women. So it's me, my younger sister, my older sister, my cousin Carly, our lovely Shantae, and then we've got the amazing Kelly, who's like top dog. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's amazing at her job. So yeah, it's a group of us girls. We work amazingly together. We're all basically like friends and family anyway, which I think help works. My sister just said we're hoping to start the workshops again, obviously because of COVID. It's just slowed everything down. But yeah, so our kind of message is we want to kind of encourage young people to just do well in life, to live a good life, to live a happy life, a stress-free life, not to get involved in a number of different things that young people are getting involved in at the moment. And we believe that young people ourselves going in and speaking to them about this stuff would be more receptive.
100%. I think even from when, and you can probably relate, even when I was at school, it can feel a bit like sort of why should I listen to this woman in her 60s tell me about X, Y, Z? You know what I mean? They want relatable stuff. It's like when organizations get on TikTok and stuff. Like I've no idea what's wrong with TikTok, but I feel like that's where a lot of youngsters are getting their information from and stuff. So it's like, how can you make all of this really important stuff on their level accessible? Yeah, I mean, how has it been adapting with COVID? Have you just like moved everything online?
Yeah, so everything's online at the moment, which is sad because I actually really used to enjoy going into schools, and you have that interactive side with young people. You can directly speak to them. Like I was a little bit like the crazy teacher. I used to go in there and like sit on the tables and take sweets in with me and stuff like that. And they did really enjoy it, and I absolutely loved it. I loved hearing about the questions, crazy or not, loved speaking to young people, just understanding their thought process, because I feel like we need to understand them in order to help them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we've basically our amazing Shantae, she's very good at what she does. So she created 6 workbooks that had 3 subjects in each of those workbooks, which contain different activities, all the information that we would normally provide to the school and provide to young people as well is all in those workbooks, and we just send them over to the schools free of charge. And then we've been doing our amazing Instagram lives just to keep the ball rolling. And the Instagram lives are amazing because we can actually relate to parents, carers, siblings, family members, friends of friends who might have young people that might be going through something that we're talking about. So it's been an amazing platform for us to
and you can probably cast your net a wee bit wider as well. It might not normally be in your workshops. Like I hadn't heard of you guys prior to obviously you contacted me. Now it's great that I know it exists, and you know, if there's hope to come up to Scotland in the future in a post-COVID world, then all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so important.
That's amazing. So with the organisation, let's talk about the organisation that you've started up. So is it just online? Have you done any like workshops or?
Yes. So pre-COVID, which again, when you said when you first started this live, you're still in 2020, same. Like I when I last year, I mean summer 2019. Like my brain is like pre-COVID, we used to have monthly events, mainly in Glasgow, sometimes in Edinburgh, and those events were called, instead of like, you know how Mean Girls has You Can't Sit With Us? Well, our event was called You Can Sit With Us, and it was all about the inclusive, feminist, accessible space for women. So it was like pay as you feel, and there was always food there, and we always had guest speakers from just different pockets of life, women who did amazing things, whether it was I don't know, running their own business, or whether it was like I don't know, a sex worker, or maybe it was like someone who'd experienced trauma of some sort, just all sorts of manners of things just to speak. And we kind of, then there was like a Q&A and stuff like that, but we did that. And then we had a few workshops in schools as well, where, a bit like yourself, we just wanted to speak to the young women like directly about social media, body positivity, like what they can do to curate a safer space online. and all that sort of stuff. So we've actually not been great. I'm not the best with tech sometimes, so we've not been great. I was like pushing back on no, we like, because I'm like you, I like to be in amongst it. Like I don't
Yeah,
necessarily like the how disconnected the connected world feels sometimes.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm a hugger as well, so this can feel
yeah,
weird. But we did do an online event just a few weeks ago, and it was really good. And it meant, again, we could cast the net a bit wider. We were able to have speakers from London, or from, like, we had one speaker from overseas. And, like, so it really is great from that point of view. And even on our Facebook, there's 20,000 now on the Facebook. And
wow.
some are from America, from Spain. And just to see those connections forming between just like-minded women across
Yeah,
the on such similar connected issues is really great. And I can't wait to actually just get back to talking once my baby gives me so I did my first TED talk last year, and I'm doing another this year,
yeah,
which is really cool and amazing. However, I'd like the baby to give me my brain back. Like, I
yeah,
full honestly, for the last like probably 4 or 5 weeks, I spend my life going um
yeah,
but it's just gonna be a thing for the next few months. So
yeah,
making anything stick is hard, but for sure, I just can't wait for us to get back to being the in-person events.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm sure you guys feel the same. What's your plans for the future? Have you got any plans for
So
when?
the the kind of plan that we've got that's going to have an immediate effect is the mentoring sessions, because that can obviously be done via Zoom or whatever the online platform is. So we hopefully would like to do it face to face, but we're just going to kind of see how things go and see how the schools respond and what their intentions would be for it as well. So I'm super excited to get started with that, and then we just want to get back in schools. We just want to get stuck back in, like you said. We just want to get straight back in. I want to be sitting on those tables again. I want to be sitting in the staff room talking to teachers again. I love asking the teachers, like, how did you feel after the lesson? Because sometimes we're going in there and talking about contraception, we're talking about sex, all
Yeah,
of these kind of.
sometimes the odd teacher is probably like,
Do you know what I've actually had? In some situations, I've had a couple of teachers just say, is it okay if I have someone else come in this class? Because they really feel uncomfortable about it. But that's what also makes our organisation so amazing, is that we do go in and we talk about subjects that people would normally find quite uncomfortable and awkward. But I feel no way. I mean, I've done it before. I've been in a hall of 100 and something kids, and
yeah,
I've showed them how to put a condom on a plastic willy.
well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, just in front of them, and it's fits of giggles and laughter, and I just love it. I love
yeah.
it.
I wish I had more of a filter. Like, I don't have. Like, I'm like you. Like, nothing like that phases me, because I feel like we all have bodily functions. We all have, like, and actually, it sounds weird, but if I'm ever speaking to a large crowd, I just remember that they all go to the toilet as well. On their head, I'm like, you also poop, so it's fine. All the same. And an interesting thing that my therapist once said to me as well was, I remember saying to her last year, like, thank you for all your help. You're so amazing. I really look up to you. And she was like, no. She was like, you don't look up to me. She's like, we're a level. We like support each other. She says, I need you just as much as you need me. And this is a relationship where we're on a level. And
Yeah,
I think that's really nice, because in life we tend to, and rightly or wrongly, put people on pedestals. But
yeah,
like, we are all the same. Obviously there are, again, outliers, and there's like barriers for different people for different things. But we should all have the same opportunities, and we all have that thing, a voice,
100%. And I do feel like we're headed in the right direction, because there are so many women out there that are becoming more vocal, and they are realizing their own worth, and they're like, well, no, I want to be on the same salary as him, so I'm going to work for it and I'm going to get it. So I do believe that we're definitely headed in the right direction, but we do have a long way to go still. There are still a lot of injustices, but that's life, that's the world. We're not the only ones who are still suffering. But I wanted to talk about your kinds of modeling, bodybuilding era, and what your thought process was in there, because there's different ways of explaining ways to empower women, and sometimes a woman feels empowered by showing off her amazing body and wearing skimpy clothes and having her boobs out and doing whatever the hell she wants to do. And I don't feel like anyone's in a position to tell women how they should and shouldn't dress, how they should act, etc. So from a person who has kind of been on that Instagram platform and done an amazing thing, what was your thought process, and how, I'm guessing you're not doing it anymore, so what made that change? How did you, if you're okay to share your story, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, probably from the age of about 13, 14, I was really into my dancing, and I had struggled with eating disorders on and off throughout the years, and there were different stressors that triggered that throughout the years. And then when I was about 25, I was training in the gym. I was like an absolute cardio bunny. I just used to go in, hit the treadmill and whatever. And I saw this woman walking around the gym just looking in like amazing shape. She had like ripped abs, and like she was so lean and slender. And I just remember thinking like, I want to look like that, but I'm spending all these hours here and I don't look like that. So got talking to her. Turned out she was like a bikini competitor. So I was like, my mind instantly went, how do I get into that? Like, I want to look like that. Ended up getting myself a coach, and started working towards like that sort of look. So I started training quite a lot in the gym. My whole diet changed, but it started to go down a bit of a sinister path because I realized in my head that it just kind of gave me a name for my old habits. So it was just, although I was eating chicken and rice and training, nobody else could really see. And I was like, I'm a bodybuilder, but like down I was going, oh my God, I can be really restrictive and like nobody's say anything because this is like, it's a thing. I'm doing a thing now. I'm an athlete or whatever. So I went down that road, ended up doing really well, but it did end up kind of becoming all consuming. And I think because my whole life I've placed so much, and a lot of it's to do with like some trauma from my dad growing up, a long story, but because I placed so much importance on my physical appearance for so long, I think I used to think to myself things like, if I just get abs, I'll be happy. If I just look like her, I'll be happy. If I just do that. And then when I recognized that I got there, I was top 3 in Scotland, I had the abs, I looked amazing, and I didn't get there because I still felt like the old me inside. I think that was a big shift when I realized that like my worth isn't, it was never about my body, never. Like, and don't get me wrong, still to this day, I mean, I'm battling with some demons coming back again because my body's changing due to pregnancy and all that stuff, and I think that'll be an ongoing thing for the rest of my life, just the way my mind works. But I think like I just kind of learned in that moment that I was placing so much importance on this, or I wasn't living my current life because I thought I need to get there before I can live, and once I get there I'll enjoy myself. But then when I had abs I was still miserable, so I went, well, why? I thought that all this time it was there. And I guess people kind of have different things in their life that they do that with. So that's why again it's the wedding blues, isn't it? If I just get married, then I'll be happy. If I just get a handbag, then I'll be happy. If that car, then I'll be happy. Happiness isn't waiting for us at the abs or at the husband or at any of that stuff. That's got to be an ongoing process, and it always will be for me with my body. But I still try to have a bit of a balance where I go to the gym and stuff like that. But anything in it massive extreme is going to be damaging to your mental health and possibly your physical health. And you know, I lost my period as well when I was like training that hard and stuff, so it's not a good place to put your body in. And there's a whole other conversation as well in that sport about drugs and things like that, cancers and whatever. It's all a bit underground, but yeah, I mean, it's so, yeah, that's me now. So it's still an ongoing struggle with the body, but I definitely don't place I know I've got so much more to offer than just my body. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I was just going to say, just to reassure you, you're doing one of the most amazing things that anyone's body can do right now. You are creating a life and you're creating a child. So if you do
with this journey, again, to look at a positive aspect, I've been trying very much to stop worrying about the bodily changes, because my body will be changing and is changing. I've been trying to focus on that, the beauty of what it's doing and what it's actually, if we do shift our kind of minds to, you know, there's a lot of chat around just now about everyone's gained weight during COVID or whatever. Excuse me, our bodies have also carried us through a fucking pandemic. Like, it's not been easy. And everyone's had different struggles, or they've had moments where they've really not coped, or we've had like moments of existential crisis, like what the hell. And ultimately we're still standing, and we got through. I mean,
I just look at it like I find myself still doing it now, to be honest with you. I did put on weight. Um, I've kind of always had issues with my weight on one side or the other. So up until I was probably about, I don't know, let's say 23, I was anorexic skinny. Like I was in a size 6, a 4 to 6. My trousers, I could sometimes get into a size 4. I had no boobs, no bum, no hips. I didn't feel like a woman. I felt like a stick. I was not, I had no self-confidence. I just hated the way that I looked. um I wore the same clothes all the time because I knew they fit me. I didn't care about looking good. Do you know what I mean? I was really, really self-conscious. And then I went to the complete extreme opposite, and up until a few months ago, I consider myself, I was severely overweight. I wasn't obese, but to me, I was overweight. It's the biggest I've ever been. I was like, oh my God, look at my stomach, look at my flabby arms, my double chin, my face got so fat. And I was like, oh my God, you are disgusting. I hate you. I don't even want to, like, I just literally tried.
Speak to yourself like that, because you would
Yeah,
never your friend or your sister.
never,
Never.
never, ever. I would never. So this is why it's so important for us to be careful with what we're saying to ourselves as well, because I genuinely believed it. My other half would say to me all the time, he's like, oh babe, like you have put on a bit of weight, but you don't look bad, you're still beautiful. And he was really good at reassuring me. But when you
You
have
focus on
this,
the fact he said you did put on some weight, not the fact you look beautiful or great or whatever. You're just like, but you think that, oh my
but
God.
you think I've put on weight,
Yeah.
you know I've put on weight. I have. And then I spoke to my cousin. I literally saw my cousin today because I was doing her nails, and I was sitting there and talking to her, and the picture that I used for the peer-to-peer promo post, that was when I was quite large. I was comfortably in a 14 to 16. I was quite big. And she was like to me, babe, like, I don't mean to be rude, but I really feel like you should change that picture because you don't look like that now. And when every time I look at that picture, I'm like, oh my God, I need to see that picture. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I hate it so much. But I was scrolling, and because I don't really take pictures of myself anymore, I was trying to scroll through my camera to find the most professional picture.
I need updated as well, but
yeah,
we can't look like that all the time. That's why I was humming and hawing that when I was like coming from my, I'll do my makeup to go, and I thought, you know what, I don't need to, because and it's fine. And sometimes I do wear loads of makeup, sometimes I don't. It's again things where we come in many different shapes and forms, and when I want to glow up is real, and when I don't, then I'm just me. I'm still me. Do you know what I mean? And I think that says a lot about kind of where I've got to and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely about correcting that inner monologue, because mine can do exactly the same. Mine can be like, you are disgusting, you're big, fat, and whatever. And another thing my therapist would say is always question things with, what evidence do I have to support that? That really helps me sometimes, because when I'm saying all these things, or you're stupid, I say to myself a lot. The evidence, I don't have any evidence to support that. That's just a belief that I have played myself for whatever reason. And it really does limit us, because you could be going into any situation thinking, oh, they don't want to see me, they shouldn't make eye contact because I'm stupid. That's only come from me. Do you know what I mean? And whatever my traumas and beliefs are, that's not been given to me by anybody else. And giving that out is not fair for me or for anyone.
So on here I've actually got just a kind of few points that I wanted to just go through just for our viewers. I know that these are things that everyone knows already, but what we're trying to do is force you to tell yourself these things, right? So the first one is knowing yourself. Understand what you like, what you don't like. Don't exceed your own boundaries. If you want to say no, say no. You do not have to say yes to everything just because someone has told you to say yes. I say the same thing to my son. He's a boy, and I say the exact same thing to him. I say, if you do not want to do something, apart from when I tell you to do it, but if you don't want to do something and someone else has asked you to do it, you say no. That's it. Clear as. That's simple. And I feel like a lot of women struggle with saying no because they are worried about the outcomes, or they're worried about the repercussions. But we just need to ensure that we're doing it safely, and we're not trying to add fuel to the fire or create a confrontation or anything like that. You just politely say, I don't really fancy it. That's not what I want to do, or whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. Another one is care for yourself, caring for yourself. Our mental health and our bodies, we are going to be stuck with them for a very long time, hopefully. And it's just really, really important. And sometimes it's not necessarily about caring for yourself as in working out or going to the gym, sometimes it's not about the physical aspect, it's about the mental aspect as well. So we need to be taking care of our minds. We need to be, I don't know, whether it's a hobby that you might enjoy. Maybe you like to go for walks in the rain, or you like to walk through muddy puddles like Pepper, or you just want to do whatever you want to do. If you feel like that's something that's good for your mental health and for you, do it. Don't matter. It does not matter what other people say. I made a confession to my boyfriend the other day, and I do something that's actually quite weird, and people think it's really weird, but I really enjoy it, and I'm going to say it because we're being honest.
I was going to say, do share.
I really, really enjoy watching people eat food on Instagram.
Wow, that's quite niche, because
That's the thing.
that's your thing. Own it. Because the thing is, some people don't like, I would get turned off by the like,
Those eat sounds. Yeah,
that could be an ASMR thing for you. Maybe it's like
yeah,
for you. You're like, oh, listen to that bolognese getting chewed. Mm.
yeah. To be honest with you, it's not really the people eating it. It's more food that they're eating. Because sometimes I actually watch it on mute. If it's a bit too, I watch it on mute. So it's not so much about the sounds. It's more like the visual aspect of it. Like I love it when it's really saucy. And I watch like a lot of Korean and Japanese videos of people eating Korean and Japanese food. And I'm just like,
over there.
say that again.
There's so many videos of like Korean folk eating food and stuff, but they eat really weird stuff. So
yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's my thing, that I just get into bed and I curl up under the blankets and I've got my phone like that.
Yeah.
That's just what I enjoy doing. So I think it's really important finding your thing that
yeah, if that's what you like, then give it
feel comfortable.
Candy Crush right now. Fuck it.
I mean, there you go. That's it. Everyone's got their own thing and we need to own it and just enjoy it. The next one that I've got, which I feel like is a massive, massive one, is respecting yourselves. I feel like a lot of women do not respect themselves because they've never experienced being respected, or they haven't been shown how to respect themselves. And this is why we need to drill it into these young girls' minds that you need to respect yourself and realize your worth and realize that you are not below anyone. It doesn't mean that you need to be arrogant or pretentious or anything like that. It doesn't mean you need to be like that. You just need to know your worth, that you're not going to take.
That translates again into boundary setting. That's knowing your worth. No, if you don't want to do something, or that you don't need to go along with the crowd because you might get left behind. It's about knowing that those can be your boundaries, and that's okay because you're worth it.
Yep, 100%. Another one I've got is accepting yourself. So the last two that I've got kind of go hand in hand. So I've got accepting yourself and loving yourself, because I feel like a lot of women kind of get into relationships or situationships, or I don't know, whatever kinds of connection they're developing with someone, they kind of jump into it without feeling secure in themselves first. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, our own insecurities, I've done it with my partner so many times, that my own insecurities bleed into my relationship, and he's just like, I'm not your ex, I haven't done that, stop
That's
thinking
why I'm single.
That's why. And that's fine as well. That's completely fine. Your situation is completely fine.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, did you break up once you found out you was pregnant, or was it planned for it to go that way? Or
We split up about a week before I found out, but there's a lot of we just weren't meant to be anyway. We weren't seeing each other very long, so there's all that stuff. But like in general, there's a pattern that develops with me anyway that's a bit like you're describing, where, you know, having a couple of 2 or 3 bad experiences with men in relationships and just projecting that onto whoever comes along, because you're going to hurt me, you're going to do the same to me, da, 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 da. And it's that thing of like, they're like, I'm not him, like, but it's hard to like separate all of that built up trauma from the new person. And I think, like, again, it's just about the pregnancy's given me a good bunch of time to just really work on myself as well. You know, and I know that when the baby's here, hopefully I'll be in a better position eventually to probably attract what's right for me, instead of like looking for what's not right.
yeah. With my other half, so we've nearly been together 2 years now, and at the time that we got together, I was not looking for a relationship. I was anti-relationships. I think I had been separated from my ex for just over a year, and I was just like, no, I don't want it. I'm enjoying my own time. This is me. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to go out and have my fun and do whatever the hell I want to do. And then all of a sudden he popped up, and we actually started off as very good friends. I met him at work, and we just started realizing that we knew a lot of the same people. We started going out to parties and stuff like that as friends. There was no romantic connection there or attraction there whatsoever. Then all of a sudden something just clicked, and I was like, I think I fancy him a little bit,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I think I really like him, actually.
Yeah.
And so it just developed like that. So sometimes I feel like you just have to let it happen naturally.
Yeah.
You can't.
What about
Oh,
your and stuff? And I think previously seeking it out, like, and that can just lead to, like, I don't know, guys could show you a bouquet of red flags and you're like, bah, come in anyway. But
yeah.
it's so loved, or what you think is perceived as love. And yeah, it's not healthy. So
Yeah. 100%. And just the last few bits that I've got, these are literally just like, they're not really, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because they are quite long-winded, but just a few other points that we've got here that are very, very important when it comes to especially young girls as well, because they are our future. They're our future, and we want to install all these things that we're talking about. We just want to put it all into their brains so that they go into the big wide world, and they know who they are and what.
and I'm scared. It's like,
Are you having a
yeah,
girl?
yeah.
Oh, yay! Oh, yes! What an amazing combo! You're literally just going to grow her up to be a mini you. That's amazing.
Scary as well, because how do you protect them? But yeah, sorry, can't
Yeah.
go.
Of course. So I've literally just got providing an education, so ensuring that your kids are, this counts for any children, but today we are talking about girls and women. So it's so important to make sure that they are given the right education. The amount of education that they get is so important as well. And it's not necessarily about forcing your kids to go on to college or university or whatever, but it's just making sure that they understand that they can have access to an education if they want it. That's it. Appreciating the women around us. I love speaking to, you know, those drunken moments in the girls' toilets
Yeah,
are just like the
I
best
miss
time
them. I miss all the WhatsApp numbers I wake up with.
Oh, it's amazing. An example, I went out a couple of weekends ago. Sorry if there's anyone watching and it's a bit graphic, but I don't care because it's an thing. But I actually came on my period while I was out, and the whole girls' toilet just went on a mad one of trying to find me a tampon or a pad. One of the girls asked one of the workers, because I'd leaked all my jeans and I was out. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
One of the girls asked the workers, and then one of the workers there brought me a tampon, and she was like, here's a pad as well, just in case. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We are amazing. We're absolutely fantastic. And just the posts and the videos, like, there's a really, really cute video that I saw a while ago, but it's still kind of circulating, and it's these girls just driving around in their cars. They're in America, and they go, hey, you've dropped something. And she's like, what? And they're like, your crown. And I'm just like, yes, everyone needs to be uplifting each other, and it's amazing. I just love it so much. So just appreciating the people that we've got in our lives. I'm one of three sisters, so I have my sisters. I love them and I appreciate them. So I feel like that's really, really important. Another one that I've got is actually investing in small businesses owned by women.
Yeah, 100%. So buying from small, I was just going to add to that one, always pay a
Yeah,
compliment.
cool. No, go for it.
If you think it, always pay the compliment. Like, I always do it. Like, even if it's like, I love your coat, by the way, or something, you never know whose day you might make. But yeah, invest in small female.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, small businesses as a whole, but if they are owned by a woman, even better. We love that. And then the final one that I've got is actually being a mentor to a girl child. If you have, so I've got my beautiful niece and I've got my beautiful goddaughter as well. And every time I see them, I'm like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're so smart. You're so amazing. I love you so much. Oh, wow, your hair looks so nice today. I love your outfit. My niece, I look after my niece and nephew every Monday for the day, and my niece said she wanted to wear her jean jacket so that she was matching with me, and it just shows you how much they pick up from the people around them. And so it's very, very important for us to to make sure that our young girls feel supported and they feel amazing, because they are.
And again, it's about what they hear. Like, so I want to be careful when this one is here that, you know, I'm not having those conversations with myself in front of others. And there's going to be moments where I probably mess up and get that wrong, but as long as I'm mindful, because little brains just absorb everything.
Everything. I'm really sorry, this is going to be a rush to get off now, but this is going to cut off in literally about 30 seconds, because it's only on for an hour, isn't it? So, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on. Mandy, amazing. Continue doing the amazing things that you're doing, and I hope that we can actually meet up in the future.
If I'm in London, and continue the great work that all you guys are doing as well. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Okay, have a good evening, and thank you everyone for joining. Bye.